Hi everyone, welcome to Excel with UT. In today's session, we are going to discuss the function called nested if. So, nested if directly is not a function, it is a phrase or abbreviation where we are using multiple ifs in one if. So, basically, it's a chain of if function used consecutively one after the other. So, why do we need this? So, many times it's to have conditions more than two. So earlier we have seen scenarios where we have only two conditions, that's a true or a false, and you can use a simple if there. But in cases where we have more than two conditions, we have to use multiple ifs, and that's where we call them nested if. So let's jump into the data. I've shown a small example and I'll walk you through how we can use the nested if. So I have a data of students in a class and the marks that they've got in the exam, and I've put in some criteria what the result should look like. So if the marks are greater than 33, I will call them pass. If the marks are less than 33, I'll say the result as fail. And if the marks are greater than 60, the result is called as a distinction. So now let's see how we can use the nested if condition to cater all these three conditions. So let's start by using the nested if here. So we'll write if logical test. So the logical test is D6, which is the first cell. We're saying it's greater than 60, and this is the logical test, and the value, if is true, is distinction, and if the value is false, we will use another if here because we still have two logical tests to be done here. We still have another logical test to be done here. The logical test again is D6 is greater than 33. Value of true will say pass. And now we can directly use the value false because that's the only condition that's left. And we can directly say fail. Now we close the first bracket. That's closing the if that we've put at the last. And now we need to put another bracket that will close the first if that we put from the beginning. Now, if you can notice, when we close the last bracket, it appears in bold. So that shows it is the last. That's the end of the if that you have used in the beginning. So you've covered all the ifs here. So let's say enter and let's see what's the results here. So you can see we have got the results here. And if you try to cross verify, 30 is fail, 50 is pass, 70 is distinction, 45 is pass, and 29 is fail again. So that's how the nested if works here. So you use the if function inside another if function, and you can create a chain like this. You can keep testing multiple criterias here, and you will keep getting the results here. So that's how the nested if works here. Now the only limitation here is when the conditions become too many, it becomes little difficult for the user to handle or manage the formula, because in this case, if you don't use the logical test with proper brackets and comma, it's not going to give you it's not going to give you the correct results. So each if needs to be closed properly, and each logical test needs to be opened with the value if true, and the value of false needs to be opened with another if. So it becomes a little confusing with multiple conditions more than 2 to 3 conditions here. So there are other functions in that case which provide more efficient results. We have seen the if-else function, so that can be used in this scenario. So there basically you just have one if condition and multiple logical tests can be tested in just if conditions, just one if conditions. So that's another option that you can use instead of nested if. But if you want to use the nested if condition, that's how you can use the nested if here, and it can help you to give or pass test multiple logical conditions here. So thanks for joining on the video here. We'll meet you in the next video. Thanks.